Hey everyone, and welcome to a new video on Bite of Geek. Today, well, I'm taking a look at the new CB3 smart home battery camera from EZVIZ. Let's check it out. So thanks to EZVIZ for sending out the CB3 for review on the channel. As always, no money has passed hands for this review and you will get my honest opinion on this. I've had this in use now for well over a week, and well, you know, there's some good points and there's some bad points, so make sure you stick all the way through the video to hear what I've got to say on this camera. But you know, this is available on Amazon UK at the moment. You know, it's £79. There's a little bit of discount running at the moment, so you know, you could certainly pick yourself up a little bit of a bargain if you wanted one of these. But you know, what exactly you're going to get in the box for your money? Well, you know, let's get it unboxed. So this is the CB3 from EZVIZ, 1080p outdoor camera. So you know, specs on one side of the box, and you've got kind of like features on the other side of the box. But one thing that I noticed on the bottom of the box, just at the footer, it mentions that you don't get a power brick with this, any kind of USB plug or anything like that. So just something to bear in mind. You know, you've probably got loads of those anyway, so it may not be a biggie for most people. But what greets you? Well, you know, first off, you've got the yeah, this is probably the welcome pack. There'll probably be instructions and God knows what not in there. Then you've got some screws and roll plugs. Then you've got a USB-A to mini USB, which is a real shame. It would have been nice to have been a USB-C cable there, and it doesn't look like a massive cable either. So yeah, I really, you know, I say this every time on these videos, I really wish manufacturers had moved to a USB-C. And then you've got the mount, so fairly decent looking mount, to be honest with you. You know, you can adjust it all at the back. You know, fairly standard size fitment, I would say. One thing that I can just notice on this is there's no kind of like notch on the front, so you know, you don't have that point where you can get that extra bit of downward motion on it. And then the last thing in the box is the camera body itself, which first impressions, you know, even though it's wrapped up in all of this this kind of like, you know, cellophane and everything, you know, is this is a fairly nice looking bullet camera. You know, EZVIZ have done a good job in what they've got there. So just kind of like comparing this in size to, you know, maybe some of my other cameras. So this is the Eufy 2C, as you can see, just a little bit bigger than that. And then we got the Wook camera, which reviewed recently on the channel. So roughly, you know, same kind of size, different style of camera. And then finally, you know, if you've got the Arlo system, then, you know, it's just a little bit bigger than the Arlo. So within the general ballpark of all those kinds of cameras, really, you know, bullet cameras can be quite big, and obviously one of the disadvantages is they literally just roll away on whatever surface you've got. So inside the box, so yeah, you know, you've got your leaflets and quick start guide, which, you know, is probably just going to forward you off towards the app. And then you know, there's just at the bottom of this box here, there you go, is a mounting guide if you're going to screw this into the wall, if you're not already, you know, you're not using an existing mount or anything like that. So we'll just put all that to one side for the moment. So just taking a bit of a closer look at the camera. So we'll just get the kind of like the wrapping packaging off this, all fairly well stuck down by EZVIZ. Well done. Once you've got that off, you kind of reveal this glossy white and you know, glossy white body and glossy black front as well. So quite premium looking, pretty much, you know, how these cameras are nowadays. EZVIZ logo on the side, you know, various bits and bobs on the bottom here. So you've got a little rubber flap for your micro SD cards to go in there, and you've also got a reset switch in there as well. And you've got here, you've got your mini USB port as well under another little flap there as well. So all kind of, you know, standing up to that waterproof rating. And you know, just in terms of the mount, well, it just screws in on the back. You know, you can't get anything more simple than that, really. So, you know, you can probably get most positions with the mount probably could just do with that notch, just, if you've got one of those awkward positions, but probably fine for most people, I would say. And yeah, I think, it probably looked quite smart when it's actually got it mounted. It's a nice looking camera. You've got your LEDs on the front there, twin LEDs, so don't be expecting big floodlit areas from this. You've got your microphone, obviously your lens and your PIR there as well. So in terms of specification, well, the CB3 is a 1080p full HD camera, so almost certainly good enough for most people. However, if you've got a big area that you want to cover with this and you absolutely need that level of detail, a 2K camera is probably going to be better in that regards. It is a battery camera, and EZVIZ claim 120 days between charges. Now the battery isn't removable, so you're going to have to take your camera down to be able to charge that. It's got colour night vision, it's got black and white night vision, so good to see that. It's got little LEDs on the front. The obviously Wi-Fi connectivity, but only on the 2.4 gigahertz network. So if you are wanting to put this onto 5 gigahertz, you're unfortunately out of luck here. It will hook up with your usual Amazon and Google smart devices, two-way audio, so you can speak and listen to obviously anybody who's in sight of the camera. Like a lot of these cameras nowadays, with the AI detection, this has smart human detection as well. So from that point of view, it's going to differentiate between people and other objects. It takes a micro SD card, so I think it's 256 gigabytes that it'll actually take on that. So you've got that local storage on device. There is also EZVIZ's cloud storage as well, which you can subscribe to. So you're covered in both ways there if you need to. Something I noticed on the packaging, normally on these cameras, you see military grade encryption. EZVIZ have financial standard data protection. So, yeah, interesting take on how well it protects your data. But other than that, it's pretty much got everything else that you would expect of a camera at this price point. So to get up and running, well, first off, you're going to have to install the EZVIZ app. Now on the Android store, it's got a 4-star rating, so not too shabby. A lot of downloads of this app, and I've seen far worse ratings than 4 stars for security camera apps. So get that downloaded and just go through the process of getting it installed onto your device. Once you've launched that, you just need to, you can either sign in if you've already got an EZVIZ account, or you can create a new one. You've got various options there to sign in. I've never used EZVIZ before, so I'm going to create myself a new account, and you just need to give yourself, put your name and your email address in to get going with that. So once you've been successful in registering your account, you can just carry on with the setup process. It is all self-explanatory, it's all on screen. So you want to add a device, so you get a list of things here that you can add. Obviously this is a camera, so we're going to pick a camera from the top of the list. So really quick and simple to get that camera connected into the app. The next step is then to connect it onto your Wi-Fi network. Now it will only support 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, so just bear that in mind. But like with a lot of these things, it's a relatively straightforward process of just picking your Wi-Fi network, putting in your password and allowing it to connect. It does take a few seconds to connect, but once it's done that, then you just need to identify where the camera is located. So there's kind of like a predetermined list of locations, like garden or front or whatever. They're all options that you've got there. And then you'll just get these audible acknowledgements from the camera, just letting you know it's connected and everything is okay.
Platform registration successful. Configuration complete. Welcome to EZVIZ.
So now I've got the camera all set up outside in the garden. I'm going to take you through some clips of some footage as I've gone and tested this. So we've got some daytime footage, kind of the resolution test. We've got some nighttime footage as well. We've got some kind of like test on the notifications as well. So hopefully cover off a lot of different aspects that most people will be looking for when they're wanting to buy one of these types of cameras. So in terms of resolution, well, it is pretty clear. You can certainly read that text off at a distance. Just one thing to note, this is where I started walking from, so no kind of pre-record on this camera when it fires into action. So in terms of nighttime footage, well, I don't think it does too bad. Those little LEDs doing a brilliant job in trying to get as much light out into the area as possible. And the camera, with a side-on detection, it's picked me up quite early as I walk around the corner as well. Whilst testing this, the UK was in the grip of some pretty severe weather, -5 and rain and sleet and snow and everything, and as you can see here, a bit of a foggy lens on the CB3. This camera is very much out in the open, so it may well fare better if it's got some kind of cover over it. Some cameras do suffer from this, some of them don't. It really does depend upon where you place them. As for audio, well, this is what it sounds like if it picks up something in your garden. This is an audio test of the EZVIZ CB3 battery powered smart camera. So just outside doing a bit of testing of the notifications and how well the camera picks me up. So it is actually, as you can see there, it's just on the fence there, so I'm just walking towards it and there's my notification, so it's picked me up. The camera's got me, so I'm about 15 feet from the camera there, so not too bad. Again, try it again, kind of same angle of attack as it were. I've turned the lights on the camera this time, and there you go, notifications come through. So pretty rapid on those first two attempts with the notifications. I think I prefer it with the lights on. You can actually see that something's happening, and then third attempt, and no lights on the camera. There you go, it's picked me up, but I haven't got a notification. So it is just the camera's picked me up, it's recorded me, but just no notification come through. So in terms of settings, where you've got this power options setting here, and you've got a number of different options within that, depending upon really how aggressive you want the power consumption to be for your camera. In addition to that, you've also got a scheduling option, which allows you to set basically on a schedule which of those options you want to use. So a really nice feature. I've not seen that on any other apps before for smart security cameras. Next up, you've got your intelligent detection. So this is kind of like the human detection or the object detection, and you can set up the sensitivity that the camera works to, basically. So you set the distance from the camera. You can also go and paint your zones on the camera view as well, where you want it to pick up that level of detection as well. So you can just draw out orange boxes if you want to. One thing to note, if you do actually colour the whole thing in, then it just resets to a blank canvas again, and it does that after you've saved it, so it looks like it hasn't actually gone and saved what you've gone and done, but it's just, it assumes the whole thing, the whole area is where it's actually going to detect the motion in the camera view. So in terms of notifications, you've got a number of different options here. You've got kind of like on camera notifications, and you've got your app notifications as well. So you can have flashing lights on your camera to indicate that it's gone and detected somebody. You can have it sound an audible warning, and you can do a custom audible warning as well. So lots of different things that you can do there, to kind of like warn off people, if they're within the view of your camera. Next up, you've got your image settings, so kind of night vision. Do you want your color night vision? Do you want your kind of your on-screen graphics, your logos and all that kind of stuff on there as well? Brightness, kind of color balance and all that kind of stuff. So there's plenty of options there. Most people probably leave those as the default, I would have gone and thought. So for those of you who don't like to give away that your camera is actually active, you can turn off the status indicator as well. So that's a nice to see there on the list of options. Next up, you've got your battery usage, and a little bit weak this option in the app, I feel. It doesn't really tell you much other than how much battery you've got left. Other brands tell you, show you kind of like a graph of your consumption and the number of alerts and activations and things like that. So I think it'd be really good, if EZVIZ was able to incorporate some of that kind of information into their app. At the end of the day, it's this kind of information that helps a user determine whether maybe they need to angle their camera slightly differently. Maybe it's picking up too much information, and there's a better position that can kind of like conserve that battery a little bit more. So for those of you that like to be able to share your camera or cameras with family or friends or something like that, EZVIZ have an option for you to do that within the accounts section on the app as well. So just an email invite, pretty straightforward really. You've also got this album option, which you kind of think, why have you got the album when you've got kind of clips as well? So the album is where you save your footage, that you've gone and recorded. So there is a little bit of a strange process of how you get access to that footage, but ultimately that footage ends up in the My Album section, and then you can just download it from there. So the main interface is pretty configurable, to be honest with you. Obviously it's designed for having multiple cameras, so you can have different options here. You can play back your clips. You just kind of like press on the camera, you can play back the clips. It groups them all together for the date. You can click on the date and you get a month's view, and it'll show you the whether those days have got any clips on them as well. So yeah, it's once you kind of get used to how it works and everything, and how EZVIZ have got this laid out, it is pretty straightforward to get used to the app, to be honest with you. One of the things that I couldn't see in the settings on the app is an RTSP option there. So if that's something that you want, that doesn't seem to be available. EZVIZ, if I've missed it, please let me know and I will correct the description, correct that in the description of this video. But yeah, other than that, there's some nice features in the app. All the basics are covered there, but there's some nice features. I'd say, pointed a couple out of them there. I particularly like some of the thought around some of the functionality that's got scheduling behind it as well. So it just, it enables you to just build upon, those features which are fairly basic in some systems. So overall, what is my view on the CB3 from EZVIZ? Well, first of all, for the price, it's a pretty decent 1080p camera, nothing earth-shattering. It is competing in an extremely busy sector of the marketplace, and lots of cameras with similar specifications, similar price points. EZVIZ obviously have lots of cameras, so a fairly well-known brand from that perspective. It's an attractive looking camera. Bullet cameras usually are. They kind of like are very modern looking in that regards, and this is no different. It would look really well on the front of somebody's house or something like that. Functionality wise, seems to perform absolutely fine. Obviously, some of the bits in some of the clips with the fogging of the lens, I've seen that on other cameras. You don't see it on other cameras, so it's obviously susceptible to that. But a quick clean down and that's sorted. Certainly it's weatherproof from that point of view. There was snow and rain and sleet and all that kind of stuff, and it was bitterly cold when that was shot. It was in the minus figures, so it did really well. The little LEDs on the front for your lights are quite bright. Obviously they're not floodlights, so you're not going to get long distance light on it. And in terms of detection, it's kind of like standard range for detection. So yeah, I think the thing for me is probably the software, and I think this is one of those things you're either going to love it or hate it, the way that EZVIZ have this set up. So there's two things for me on the software. The first one is the user interface. Now, this software is used across all their different products. So, if you've used the products before, you've used their software before, and you've probably got used to the way that they've got the interface. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it. It can be amazingly frustrating to go and find how to do things, coming from other manufacturers' software. There's a lot of functionality here, but it makes it a little bit clunky in terms of usability, and it just takes a little bit of time playing around, understanding how it all works, and eventually you kind of like get there and it all makes sense. However, the second issue that I have is with regards to how you access the footage on the camera. So you've got your local SD card, and obviously EZVIZ have done their best to kind of like protect that footage on that SD card. Now, when I took that SD card out of the camera, I couldn't play those clips back on a PC, which is something that with all the other cameras I've ever tested, you can do that straight away. Now, what I don't know, and EZVIZ, if you're watching this video, you please let me know. I'm assuming it's something to do with when you set up the camera, you've got the encryption option there. But my assumption was that was probably for playing it back in the camera. If it's for the encryption of the footage on the actual SD card, fair enough. But it is something to be aware of, because the only other way to get access to the footage is what I think is a really clunky way to do it within the software, in that you have to go and play the footage and press on a record button to be able to record that footage, then to be able to download it off your phone. So yeah, I think you just need to review that process. I think you can miss important first seconds from a clip when you're doing that kind of process. I think it could be done an awful lot easier. So that's really my biggest grumble about this camera, is the software. And EZVIZ seem to be doing UI updates and things like that in the software recently. So guys, have a look at the way you actually get access to your footage. It's just not the best process, in my opinion. I think there's better ways. But other than that, great all-round camera. I'd say nothing earth-shattering, but good for the price. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What did you think of it? Anything there that you spotted that maybe I haven't gone and mentioned. If you got one of these, again, let me know. If you've enjoyed this video, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.